Laura suggests that I do a follow-up video from doing these Chippendale inserts in the deck to feature doing this diagonal piece, this odd-shaped stair rail. Do the same kind of treatment there in here. Now, this is not fine woodworking, of course, so this angle doesn't equal that angle, this angle doesn't equal this angle. So I'm going to take a bunch of measurements, do some trial cuts, and get the framework in place, like I did with the previous balusters, and then take it into the shop and put all the pieces in place. So what I'll do is I'll get this all set up and show you how I did it, what I did, and then we'll go into the shop and we'll go through the process of doing something with a whole different set of angles. As I did in the other video, the previous video, when I built the rectangular railings, I went out and cut and put frameworks in place and then gusseted those together to hold them stable while I brought them into the shop where it's not in the sun and it's air conditioned. Brought it in the shop and I was able to lay out all the railing parts inside. And like the other ones, once you get the diagonals in place, those railings here, this way and this way, everything else kind of falls into place because the rest of the railing parts are going to mirror those. So what I got here, let me show you what I got. It's marked for the top of the railing here. These are the gussets that hold it all together. I've only got 2 of these to do, so I'm going to toss the gussets out. And like before, on the previous ones, I'll be using the McFeely stainless steel square drive screws, because stainless steel will last a lot longer than anything else I can put in there. As you can see from the above shot, that this really is a trapezoid, but like the other railings, it's not, the angles aren't exact. The other ones were actually trapezoids, but you can't see it with your eye because of it's not fine carpentry, it's not fine home building, it's a deck. So if you haven't already done it, go back and look at the other video. I'll have a link in it in the description, and I'll have a link at the end of this video to it. But go back and look at the other video and see how I assembled those. You have to watch the whole thing. Just watch how I did that, and then come back and look at this. And this has a few extra challenges that the other one didn't have. So I got the first cross pieces in place. As you can see from the overhead shot, this joint didn't come out as well as I'd like, but it's a deck, so this will be fine. The next is to lay in all of the diagonals that mirror these shapes, and then make sure I also mirror this on the other railing, the whole assembly on the other railing. So what I'm going to do now, I'll get started on those, and like the previous video, if you looked at it, I set up the cut angles once. One angle is on the chop saw, the other angle's on the table saw. The chop saw would be this side, table saw would be the other end, and once you get those angles set on your machines, you just go, you cut them out and you lay them in place. It goes pretty quickly. So let me get started on that. Halfway there, I've got these 2 quadrants done. Take a look, overhead shot. And to give you guys, oops, tip it up this way because the gussets won't be in the way. That's where I am so far. Now I got to do the other 2 quadrants. I'll do a quick description later on in the video of what I meant by setting the chop saw and the table saw. And then you'll get a better idea of what I was talking about. But the other video really goes into more detail. So next is the next 2 quadrants, and then we're going to hang it on the deck. For one end of the first 2 quadrants I did, the table saw blade is tipped at the correct degrees. It's kind of random because there's no straight regular angles in this. And then I run that end through the blade with my miter fence. The other end is cut on the chop saw, and in this case it's exactly 5 degrees on the other end for the 2 quadrants I just did. Now, the next quadrants are going to be very different because one angle is one is very steep angle at one end and a little bit steeper angle than this at the other end. So I'll give you a heads up on that too. I run those vertical, by the way. I have a jig for doing that. So here's the what I use to cut the higher angles, greater angles. This slides along my sacrificial fence and goes to the table saw. I know I've got to replace that. It's been pretty much chewed up, so I need to make a newer one. And just like that, it's done. So let me pick it back up again, and you can see what's going on here. That's what it looks like in finished form. So now the next trick is just to take it outside, install it, screw it in place, and do the other side. I just discovered that the other side I need to buy 2 more boards. A few more boards because I'm almost out of stock for this. So let me go outside and we'll install this. All right, get it in that far and take the gussets off because some of them are holding up the workers. And there you go. Diagonals, thingies. Got some flats here, but that's okay. It fits here, I'm happy. Now I gotta get some more wood so I can do the last one. Onward and upward. And remember, make good things out of wood.